So in the meanwhile, kind of as a buffer and in between, Miss Tori is going to talk about a book that she loves very much, and many people have enjoyed. Certainly, you, I'm sure, have enjoyed the film, The Hunger Games, which I thought was some sort of book about cafeteria wars, but it's not. It is about.
That's actually the third book. I don't have a physical copy.
Well, I don't care about any of that. But it's about birds and ornithology and dystopian futures. And so, of course, with Jenny, she just recorded on her own, and I sort of edited the videos. In this case, and what I wanted to do with her and with Rachel, I wanted it to be more conversational, And if I had a good recording software where you could do that, I could record like a Google Plus conversation between Jenny or Michael or Rachel or anyone and myself talking about the books. Well, I don't have to do that here because Tori is right next to me with the baby. And so, let's get into it.
Okay.
BTSD for Book 1, Film 1 of The Hunger Games. The Hunger Games. That's what it's called?
Yes.
Book 2 is called
Catching Fire,
which comes out in theaters on
next month, sometime in November. I don't know the date.
14th or 17th, whatever it is. So that's our objective, is to get through the first book, which is not this one, and then we'll get the second one out as soon as we go and see the movie. Maybe we'll try for opening night or something like that. So there you go. So 3 questions, just like with Jenny, Miss Tori. The first of which is what? I'm sorry, I have to use Miss Tori's notes. Is the film a just or worthy representation of the book?
Yes, I would like to use my notes now.
Well, I'll tell this far off.
No, I have notes in the back too.
JK.
Okay. Awkward segue now. Yes, the movie is a just representation of the book, I would say, overall, in general. I think the book is pretty well suited to be adapted into a movie, which is helpful, because it's very much a fast, plot-based kind of book. It is in a first-person narrative, and they don't quite, try to do that in the movie. It's more like third-person, omniscient kind of narration, so to speak. I don't know how well that applies to the same terms apply to a movie as they do to a book, but like I said, it's well suited for it in general, and they do a good job. It's almost scene for scene. They don't leave out any major plot points from the book or major parts. There's small changes that are necessary to make it from a book to a movie, and there's some additions as well. As I said, it's more third-person omniscient, so you see things going on. For instance, Katniss, the main character, can only describe so much of what's going on based on what she sees in the Hunger Games, in the arena that they're in. But in the movie, we see the people, like the game makers, who are controlling what happens. We can see them, and so we have information from that perspective. So, yeah.
So consequently, because we get a wider view of the film, which is good, but still, would you say there's anything that's in or not in the film that you missed from the book? Anything specific?
Yes. The most major thing that I missed that was a problem would be the complexity of some of the relationships. So there's the main character, Katniss, and then
Katniss
Everdeen. And Peeta, who the two...
like the Giro?
spelled differently, but yes. Then those are the two they're from one district. They knew each other sort of before going into the Hunger Games. And so there's a relationship between the two of them.
Stop.
And then...
So was it the same...
I should have described the plot or something before we started. Anyway.
Oh, no, everyone knows what's about. In the movie, he's the son of the baker, and he throws the bread to the pigs, and she's in the rain. And she's very upset, but then they fall in love. Is this what happens in the book? Like,
No,
does that same foundation exist?
The same foundation exists where her family was starving at one point after her father died, and he, as the baker's son, has some burnt bread that he throws to her, and so that's her memory of him. Whereas he has like loved her for years and years all along, and so he declares his love for her, and it's in the book. It's very clear that he has feelings for her, and she is kind of confused about it, and she's mostly, oh, somebody's hungry. She's mostly just going along with it as a strategy in the games, that they're star-crossed lovers and they're going to try to make it out together, and they don't pull off the complexity of that in the movie as well as they do in the book. And of course they can't have the same look inside Katniss's thought process because she's not, narrating it. They use some flashbacks and that kind of thing. But there's also another guy who's back at home, Gale, who's kind of involved in it as well. And so this dynamic and relationship between all of these characters, these three characters, is really important throughout the series. And they kind of fumbled, I thought, on setting it up, but they might do better in the next movie handling that. And then, somewhat less problematic, but another issue that I have, Katniss has this pin. If you've seen the movie, it's a Mockingjay pin. Mockingjay. So it's this bird that is a combination of a Jabberjay, which is not real, and the government kind of invents this, and then it's used to spy on people. And then a mockingbird, which, is real, like we know. And so the Mockingjay, in the movie, she just buys this pin randomly in the shop area in her district. And she tries to give it to her sister, and then she ends up wearing it in the games, and it becomes her symbol.
In the movie?
And that's what happens in the movie.
No, Lenny Kravitz gives it to her at the very end. Remember that?
He doesn't give it to her.
He does.
No.
He puts the coat on her.
He puts it on her, yeah. But
thank you so much. And then he's like,
he puts it on her to wear into the game.
Get away! And she's like,
that's not where she got it originally. And in this book, there's another character that gives it to her, and then in the second book, we find out more about the background, where the pin came from, and it's really clear what it's supposed to symbolize.
It was a Horcrux?
So they sort of dropped the ball on that as well.
Not a Horcrux?
Nobody's going to want to watch this. I feel like this is kind of awful compared to just me talking by myself.
This is excellent. I had production value. Hannah takes it over the top.
Also, one thing, this isn't exactly something that I missed from the book, but the actor who plays Peeta, I like him.
McConaughey. What's his name?
Josh Hutcherson. I like him, except he's too short to be his character. I'm like, remember that time Rachel complained about the eye color? Peeta's too short. He's supposed to be. Rachel in the Harry Potter thing complained all about the eye color of
They have not seen
Lily.
That.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not posted. I'm sorry. So I was just saying I have to do my physical characteristics complaint and say that Peeta needs to be taller.
But he's defined as taller in the book.
Yeah, I mean, throughout, all the time they're talking about how when they're kissing, like she's on her tiptoes to kiss him, or he's looking down at her or whatever, and he's supposed to be like really strong, like he can throw a 100-pound bag of flour and that kind of thing. And I guess he looks strong enough, but I looked it up and he's like 5'6", and Jennifer Lawrence is 5'8", if that's real. I Googled it on my phone. I don't know if that's accurate, but he's definitely not tall enough. If anything, they're about the same height, or he's shorter than her. So I had a problem with that.
I think just having seen the movie a couple of times, I think they wanted to make him shorter because they wanted to make the prep school guy look really intimidating. But if he was big, if they were of equal size, then the bad guy would only have the bad attitude that you'd be afraid of. But you need to give that impression that he's not going to defend her against him. Like in a one-on-one fight, Peeta's not going to win because the other guy is huge and a killer. But he's soft, like pita bread, and he's So I think that there's a sensible casting option because you couldn't have two guys equal in the Hunger Games, and it makes sense that they're balanced. The teams are balanced. But I understand what you mean. I get it. I get it.
I understand what you're saying, but he is kind of supposed to be in the role of her protector. Like, he's gonna die before, you know.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
And just with the romance aspect as well. I mean, some people don't care, but I think a lot of ladies do care. Like, you want the guy that you're with to be taller than you, and so. Anyway, that's all for that question, I would say.
So, at long last, what do you prefer, the book or the film, and why?
I prefer the book because I think having the look into Katniss, the character, into her mind and her thought process and struggles, motivations, all that, is a strong point in the book. In general, not just in the book, but I don't know what I'm trying to say or that sentence is not going where it should be.
Did you feel that she was not represented in the film?
I just don't think you don't get in her head the way that you do. It's not as full and.
How could you?
Of course not.
Unless they use an introspective device like a journal or flashback with narration or whatever.
And there's some flashback, but they don't really narrate it. You just see.
Yeah. Well,
you see what's happening.
But you see it. But
right.
You know.
So which is better than nothing, but it's not the same. But I think that the film was strong and brought out some things in the book that visually are really well represented, and the whole concept of the Hunger Games. You know, they put this on. It's children fighting for the entertainment of, especially people in the capital, like the rich people. And so I think there's an aspect to it, like when you're reading it and you're lumped in with those people. Like, I'm getting entertained by a story about kids killing each other in an arena, even though it's bad and it's a critique of that. Yeah. You're kind of doing the same thing, and I think the movie brings it out even more because you're seeing it visually, and so, of course.
And we see this repeatedly, not only in history, of course, but, you know, in dystopic fictions. Walking Dead, spoiler alert, put it up, all right? In season 3 in Woodbury, they have games where living men, fight each other in a ring of zombies, you know? Just like gladiators fought, like in Gladiator, with the tigers and stuff. Very consistent, you know, the idea of spectacle and the pageantry that's attached to it, right? I guess closing thought, this is what I wanted to say. If you want, we don't talk about it now. You want to talk about Kentucky in relation to this film and book? More of the film? 3 things.
Well, Jennifer Lawrence and Josh Hutcherson, the 2 main actors, are both from Kentucky.
Live an hour away.
Yep. District 12, where they live in the movie and in the book, is supposed to be kind of Appalachia. So it could be Kentucky or, you know, around their general area. Coal miners. So.
But I mean, whether or not that was a casting choice or not, but like when you watch the film and in that big staging scene when they were choosing what are they called, the prelates or the tributes. Thank you. And you see the big coal trains and all that. You know, that's it. I mean, we could get in the car and drive for an hour and get to a strip mine and take a picture and we look like we're the exact same place. You know, and so for Kentuckians anyway, not that I claim to be one, because I'm not, but there's a special sense of that, you know, sense of ownership, because it does reflect the poverty of Appalachia. Some of the most desolate poor in the country. It's just an hour down the road from where we live. It's very, very sobering. So, well, you know, we'll post this, and then it'll be about a month until we come back with Catching Fire. I'm looking forward to it. We didn't talk about Woody Harrelson at all. I feel like we're going to talk about him more in the next one, or you are anyway. I hope that for good things. I know what happens, and I don't want to hear it. Don't make me put the thing up again. I don't want no spoiler alerts. But what do you think, okay? I'm going to put the same 3 questions down yonder in the comment section, okay? What did you guys think? Tell us. And then most important of all, did you like the book or the film better? Or if you haven't read the book, would you maybe give it a try, especially now that the second in the trilogy is coming out. You know, it's coming out soon. Would you maybe consider reading it before you see the movie? you let us know. We appreciate you watching as always. Final thoughts.
I don't know. You always ask me this. I don't have any final thoughts.
Say more. That's JK. Okay. Well, we truly thank you for watching. We'll be back soon. Also, let us know if you want to see any other videos from us. I'm not presuming that anyone will. Maybe someone wants another question and answer session. Okay, it should be a month old in 2 days. And maybe it's time for what's it like with a month old? Although I can't imagine it being much like what's it like with a week old or 2 weeks old. Pretty much the same thing. Okay. I'm gonna kiss. What would a Hunger Games kiss be? We have to be in a cave somewhere. With cameras watching. I'm gonna put it back in your mouth.
No.
What? It's clean. Some beard hair there. JK. Goodbye. Don't. No. You attack me? You're funny. Say, we hope you are doing well. She said, I hate you too. Mwah. Bye-bye.